and welcome back to Desert DIY. If you are new here, my name is Cory. Today I'm going to be doing something that you don't see very often, and I hope you enjoy this whole process. It is my first time ever doing it, and I rocked it, so I know you guys can too. Here is a piece that I am working with today, and I got it from a friend of mine, Melanie, and it had a lot of water damage and peeling veneer. If you like furniture flips and trash to treasures, please consider hitting subscribe down below because I do that all the time here on my channel and I think you will enjoy it. So this is the issue with water damage and veneer. It swells up the wood, cracks it, and peels it off. But that doesn't mean the piece is complete trash. I'm going to show you a really cool technique that I saw on YouTube also where somebody did a really neat thing that I want to surprise you with later on in the video, and I will link the how-to below. But I did this piece also with Dixie Belle products for the first time. Dixie Belle actually reached out and asked if I would try out their products and see if I liked them, and this is the inspiration that they gave me for the piece. So it was kind of Valentine's themed or love themed, and I had a really good time trying out a few different products. And in this video, I'm only going to be using a few of the ones that they sent me. The first thing I'm going to do is get this veneer off and kind of assess the swelling damage that is below. When veneer peels like this, it's because the wood has swollen up and expanded, and a lot of times it comes off really easy because of that. So it's like a blessing in disguise, I guess. And the wonderful thing about old pieces is that they always have like a nicer veneer and an uglier veneer underneath, so there's always good wood underneath. And the handles on this piece were really cool. They had like a hand notched edge all the way around. But like I was saying, this veneer came off super duper easy. I was just using my heat gun and a metal scraper, and right underneath there is another beautiful wood. So it's amazing how old things were made with such high quality. And this piece right here has a spot I want to show you where it has some worm damage in it. Could be beetles. I'm pretty sure this is woodworms, but those holes are not going to matter because of the cool technique that I'm going to be doing. The first thing that I'm going to do is just fill everything in, and I'm using Dixie Belle's mud. That's one of the first products I wanted to show you guys. You guys know, if you've been watching my channel for a while, that I have a really hard time with wood fillers because of my dry climate, and this wood filler is really good actually. I was surprised. I thought I was going to be another one of the same problems where it dries too fast and I can't work it into the piece that I need to work it into, but it was really smooth and kind of like a creamy texture. It does shrink a little bit, but so does all wood filler. So overall, I would definitely suggest this, and I'll probably be buying this again once I run out. But once it was all dry, you just go ahead and sand it back and smooth it out. And then I went over it with shellac. When you do sand wood down to the bare wood, a lot of times that wood tone will bleed through a primer or any kind of paint. So you want to shellac it and then prime it. I shellacked it and primed it 2 times. So I did this process 2 times in a row. I should have done it 3 times because I did still have a little bit of bleeding in the end, but you won't notice it because it's like one of those things where only I know it's there. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. But I filled in all the wood and made it nice and flat for the technique that I'm going to be showing you. And I did the same thing for the top. And then I go ahead and paint after that. But it was pretty smooth and the sanding went really quickly. The one thing I do want to mention about the Dixie Belle mud is that it is like really dusty when you sand it. So you definitely, like, you should always wear breathing protection. But when I sanded it, it was like a big old dust cloud from the wood filler. I'm using the color Barn Red from Dixie Belle, and it goes on really smooth. I want to give you guys my honest opinion on the paint. I feel like it is a really good chalk paint, just the quality in general, but it kind of has the consistency of a latex paint in that it goes on really smooth. It was like really velvety. I'm really happy with it. I would totally buy this. And the one thing that I really liked about their company and why I agreed to showing their products and trying it out is that their paints are 0 VOC. So if you try and buy 0 VOC paint, you usually have to buy it online, and it's very expensive, and you can't get it in small containers like you get from Dixie Belle. So you have to spend a lot more money for a lot of paint that you won't even use the whole thing. Here it is done. I'm going to show you guys a hack really quick. When you have old wood that is beat up and dried out, you can go right over it with the same color stain. You can't change the stain color this way, but you can go over it with the same stain color and renew that wood finish to be looking like brand new. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just using a small foam brush and some dark walnut Minwax stain because that is the stain color of this oak here. And I just went over it really, really generously and made sure to get in all the crevices and all the areas that were nicked or scratched or had any kind of issues going on, like being dried out or anything like that. And it renewed the wood like brand new. And once you're done getting it all applied, you just go back over. I used a paper towel and you just wipe off the excess. I like using a paper towel because then I can just throw that away because oil-based stains are not going to wash out of anything. So whatever you're using to wipe it back, make sure it's something you can throw away. But the wood looks brand new. My camera didn't even really pick up how beautiful it looks right here, but you'll be able to see in the end exactly how pretty this turned out. And I also painted the sides in the same red that I painted the top, that barn red color. I really like it. It's like kind of like a country red, like a patriotic red. Alright guys, so this is a hint at what I'm going to be doing, and I guess I better just let you know. I'm going to be decoupaging on fabric to the front of these drawers. This is something that I've been wanting to try for a really long time, and I finally had the guts to do it. So I bought about a half a yard of fabric of 3 different fabrics. So there was the first one, here's the second one, and then I'll show you the third one once I get to it. But you're going to want to have, when you do this, you're going to want to have a really flat drawer surface. So you're not going to want to decoupage over any kind of shape other than a flat surface because then it'll look really bad. So I just want that disclaimer there before you try it. Here is Dixie Belle Clear Coat. I have just bought their satin because I knew that I use satin on a lot of things, but you can use any kind of sheen clear coat for this, and you just clear coat the front of the drawer and then lay down your fabric, and you want to put down a lot of clear coat, like make it pretty thick underneath the fabric, and then you go ahead and clear coat right over the top of it again. And you want to do a couple coats of this. I'm not going to show you all the coats, but I would suggest 3. I actually learned this from a tutorial on YouTube on the channel called Home Talk, and I will have that linked below. But she did it the same way. I'm doing it the same way she did, and I'll have it linked below so you can see like the full tutorial, and she talks more in depth about how it works. But you're going to want to put that clear coat outside the edges too, like over the edge of the piece, so that way when you go to cut back, that fabric is nice and stiff and easier to cut because it has that clear coat dried into it. And this clear coat, my review on it, it was very, very comparable to Minwax, but without the smell. So if you guys use polyacrylic, this is like exactly the same quality as polyacrylic. I would, if you were to like put them in 2 mystery jars and not tell me which one was which, I would not be able to tell the difference other than the smell. So Dixie Belle does not smell as strongly as Minwax does. So when you cut the edge, another thing that's important to remember is that you need to put a new razor blade on your razor, because if you use an old blunt one, you're going to get really jagged edges here, and you're going to want to take it slow and kind of angle the blade inward toward the fabric. And for the handles, I loved these handles, and I kind of debated between painting them red or white or doing them in gold, and I decided on gold. And I'm using Rub and Buff in the gold leaf color, and I'm just literally rubbing and buffing it with my finger. And I did this with all of the drawer pulls except for the top ones. So here's a reminder of what we started with. Sad, but still beautiful. Here was my inspiration. I loved all the fabrics on here, and this is how it turned out. I was getting like an English cottage vibe from this piece since the beginning, like since I saw it. And those top 2 knobs that are white, I got them from TJ Maxx in case you were wondering. But look at the handles, they look so beautiful in gold, and the fabric looks like it has been painted on. It all turned out really good. I'm glad that I took a step into a direction I've never tried before, and it was so much easier than I thought it would be. Look at that oak. Oh my gosh, it is gorgeous. It's like it's brand new, even though this piece is so old. I don't know the age of the piece. I wouldn't say it's antique, but I would say it's pretty close to being that way. Look at how pretty. I loved the mixing and matching of the different fabrics because it kind of reminded me of like an old quilt, and it just made the piece seem so cozy and like
not too stuffy.
Thank you so much for watching, and thank you, Dixie Belle, for sending me those products to try out, and I can't wait to try out the rest. And if you liked what you saw today, don't forget to hit subscribe down below to see more, and I'll see you next time. Bye!